Hello.
Hello there.
Right, yeah, I don't have a lot of time this weekend. I'm quite strapped for time, so I'm going to keep this one short and sweet, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what I've done so far with the pressure plate, the flywheel and the clutch. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the clutch and the other stuff that we took off the engine the other week. So you know the drill, get that kettle on. Oh, I catch you in a bizzle. Blech. Oh, throw tea everywhere every time. Right, so you can see, of course you can, you're watching, what I've done. Here's the flywheel, and you remember how mucky that was and how rusty it was. I took some sandpaper, sanded all this off as much as I could. You can still see some spots where it's darkened, where I didn't want to go too deep. And once I'd sanded it off, I got some Scotch-Brite, went over it again, and then wiped it all clean. Despite what you feel, you must not add oil or any lubricant to this, because if you think it like a brake pad, it needs to grip onto, the clutch is going to have to grip onto it. So yeah, try not to add any lubricant or oil to this. Sand it all off, nice and cool beans. I suppose before I put that down, extra point to note, usually on the underside, on the other side is a good indicator if your rear main is leaking. So like I thought my rear main oil seat was leaking. This should have been my first port of call, and to see the complete lack of an oil leak, you would see it spread all over this, and I don't. So I'm quite content that that rear's been done. You want to check all of these teeth as well, making sure they've not been ground down and that they're all uniform. You want to make sure all of those teeth are serviceable and none of them are cracked or missing. Alright, that's the flywheel done. Pressure plate again, it's a very similar situation. Sanded all that down and then took some Scotch-Brite to it. Right, you really mustn't oil this. I know you're going to want to, if rust's there, you want to get the rust off and then oil it. Just a light abrasive and then wipe it off with a damp rag. And then wipe it again with a dry. You just want to get that rust off so that the rust doesn't destroy the clutch. Now this was the clutch that came off it. Not too bad, in all honesty, genuinely not too bad. A little bit worn, but still a little bit of life left in it. However, I was looking around the workshop and I found a new one that I don't think came off, but the splines are the right size, it fits the gearbox, and there's more material on the clutch itself. The only difference between these are the springs. These springs in the centre. So if you'll imagine that this is spinning on my finger, this is spinning, and then something grips. These springs act as like a damper. They slow that gear change down as it starts to engage with the rotational movement of the engine. Without these springs, your gear changes would be like that. Well, probably not that, but like that. All right. So you can get different variations of strength and weakened springs and different sizes. You can obviously see, as much as I can, that those are different. I don't know whether or not, we'll find out, I suppose. But I'm going to put this new one in rather than the old one, just due to the fact that I don't know how long that's been in there, and yeah, this one fits and it's new, so it's going in. Also, you might remember the sump, and I wanted to talk about the sump a little bit more and about that oil leak that I kept thinking was the rear main. Right, and the more I looked at this oil sump and the bottom of the engine, the more I realised it's not. So I had a look at this because I realised that this was torqued on very tight. I mean, I could use sanding all this rust off and painting it a little bit. Well, I'll have a look at that when I get close to the time. But this was very tight. These were very tight on the bottom of the engine. So that's my first sign of it's been leaking and somebody's been trying to fix it. And then I had fantastic Eterno Never Shift gum all around here. And then the gasket. The gaskets you can get rubber or cork, and they're like sectional, they're like jigsaw pieces because it's too big to send in one piece. And what I found was there was two different types of silicone on here, which is a warning sign. There was the gasket on here, which was fine. It was a cork gasket. And then I had a look at I revisited the engine, and there was a second gasket as well as like a tin foil gasket up against the engine. So somebody's just been throwing gaskets at this, and then all of these were over tightened. Now when you over tighten, I've knocked them all out now, but when you over tighten these, they create high spots at each hole along this. There's about 4 million bloody holes there, and they were all high spots. These were all raised because they've been over tightened. And I think that is where things have been going wrong. So, stripped all of this, all the gaskets off, and then I've just peened. I don't have the hammer here, it's over by the anvil. The peen ball hammer is a hammer with a bit of a half moon at the end of it to knock out metalwork, stuff like that. So I just ball peened each of those so that they're all flush now and there's no high spots at all. And I've took all the gaskets off the underside of the engine as well. So I think I'm fairly confident that's going to sort that problem. And I got some petrol and some oil on a brush, and I've completely cleaned all the inside of that out. I mean, look at that. It's like a Papa's got a brand new bag.
So good and tasty.
So there's still some grit and some bits and bobs in there, just from dust from the atmosphere. I mean, the shed's not very clean and it's not airtight or watertight. So I'll make sure that's perfectly clean before I get it on the engine. So what else I want to do today, I want to get that oil pickup off the bottom of the engine, and I want to clean all that crud out on the bottom. You can remember there's all that congealed oil that's all clogged up. So I'm going to get that off now, and we'll clean that as well. We'll give that the same treatment. Oh, where's my tea? Oh, there it is. Ooh, oh. The lifeblood. Oh, before I do, name this tune. Piano's seen better days. You didn't need the gasket for that. Get in there. Look how much better that looks. Right, lovely. Yeah, I do apologise the last couple of weeks. I've been lacking in content a little bit, but I'm waiting for some money to come in so that I can get some gunk to clean that, some clips for the linkage, and then the rebuild kit for the clutch slave, and then the gearbox can go back in, and then I can slowly start putting things in. I'm waiting for a gasket for the sump. I'm just waiting on a lot of stuff, which isn't ideal, but when I work, you know, 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, and I've got, well, you know, I've got stuff on at home as well, I am trying to find time. And that's, you know, the struggle of life, really, for me at the minute. So, next time you see me, I will have some bits and some parts to be able to do something significant. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Let's put this back on now.